Deserts offer some of the world's last mysteries, both natural and man-made. Dead cities without a history, monuments depicting advanced ancient knowledge, anomalous artifacts, explosions from space. These are just some of the riddles that are waiting to be solved. Before we get started, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe and click the notification bell for more amazing content. Number 10. The huge happy cat. Located in a desert in southern Peru, Nazia Lines is an incredible triumph that shows the creativity of prehistoric tribes. The collection of geoglyphs, large designs made in the soil, date from 500 BC to 500 AD, and new work is constantly being uncovered. In fact, the Peruvian Ministry of Culture just unveiled the discovery of a 120-foot-long cat etched into the side of a hill. Given its size, it's incredible that the design remained hidden for so long. It was only when workers were doing maintenance on a lookout point known as the Mirador Natural that they came across the pattern. The enormous feline was barely visible due to natural erosion in the steep hill, but once workers began cleaning the area, it appeared in all its glory. The lines measure between 12 and 16 inches thick, and now that the cat has been restored, it's easy to admire the work. Officials have stated that the design dates to the late Paracas period, making it over 2,000 years old. This means that the cat geoglyph is one of the earlier designs in the Nazca Desert, even earlier than the famous Nazca drawings. Cats were a common motif for the Paracas, as shown in their ceramics and textiles. The discovery is a reminder that cultural heritage work hasn't slowed down during the pandemic, and with so much left to discover at Nazca Lines, there's plenty of work to still be done. Just last year, over 140 new geoglyphs were discovered with the help of AI, so there's surely more to come. Number 9. Ice filled with life. Ice is not supposed to grow in the desert, but under the right circumstances like high altitudes and extremely dry land, fields of jagged ice spring up in the deserts all over the world. Called penitentes, they look like upright blades that often grow as tall as a person. In 2019, samples were removed from an ice field in Chile's Atacama Desert. Some of the samples contained red patches. This was a stunning moment. In other parts of the world, red ice points to the presence of living microbes. This was something that had never been found inside penitentes before. After a few tests, the microbes were identified as snow algae. They were related to a species of algae that flourish inside alpine and polar ice. But how the organisms got inside the ice blades standing in the middle of the desert is still a mystery. Number 8. Endless song. Somewhere in an isolated desert location on the southern coast of Africa, a certain Toto song is playing to the vast emptiness. Over and over and over again. In 1982, the band Toto produced their hit Africa. Almost 40 years later, somebody decided that the song should play in the desert forever. A German artist has set up a musical oasis in a secret spot in the Namib Desert with the song Africa repeating on an endless loop. The installation has a solar-powered MP3 player playing the iconic song on a loop through 6 speakers on white pedestals. It looks like this. The artist never protected the installation from the harsh desert environment apart from using durable equipment. Sidentop himself admitted that the desert would probably strangle the song sooner rather than later. Number 7. The most isolated tree. The Tenere wastelands of northeastern Niger were once populated by a forest of trees. By the 20th century, desertification had wiped out all but one solitary acacia. The tree of Tenere, as it came to be called, had no companions for 400 kilometers in every direction. Its roots reached nearly 40 meters deep into the sand. The tree had become a sacred object among the nomadic Tuareg people that would pass by it on their journeys, never using it for firewood or allowing their camels to graze on it. As more desert explorers came across the shockingly hardy plant, it became quite well known and was even included as a landmark on European military maps of the otherwise desolate expanse during the 1930s. It died in 1973. The way the tree was killed infuriated many people. A drunk driver had been following an old caravan route when he ploughed into the tree of Tenere. The trunk of the tree is now displayed at the Niger National Museum. By way of remembrance, a metal monument was placed at the spot where the acacia had once stood. Number 6. Desert breath. Rising out of a flat expanse in the Egyptian desert, the earthen cones of desert breath seem like giant alien anthills, but they're simply art. Completed in 1997 after a number of years under construction, the installation consists of a fractal spiral of conical protrusions and alternately conical depressions. From the ground, the full scope of the project is hard to see, as the site appears to be a string of increasingly large sand piles, with the matching pits from which they were dug lurking nearby. However, when seen from the air, the full effect of the piece becomes clear, as the 89 cones and 89 matching depressions spiral out from one another in two geometrically precise arms that increase in diameter the farther they get from the central axis. At the center, where the two strings meet, a cone rises up out of a large central pit, which was originally filled with water. Despite being otherwise unadorned, the mathematical precision on display at the site creates a sense of wonder. Desert Breath was purpose-built to slowly erode back into the swept sands it was created from, and in the decade and a half since its construction, it has begun to do just that. The piece may not be as large as it was when it was installed, but this work of art is still worth a visit for anyone wishing to see an Egyptian monument that isn't quite so ancient. Number 5. Slab City. Camp Dunlap was a training base for Marines that was shut down after World War II. Squatters soon moved in and raised shacks on the concrete slabs of the base, which also had a grid of streets. In no time, Slab City was born. Located in California's Colorado desert, the inhabitants often portray themselves as the last free people in America. If freedom is based on taxes, then that may well be true. The taxman is not particularly interested in Slab City. Other inhabitants include survivalists and adventurers, but those who arrive by choice are only half of the story. Many families lose everything and have nowhere else to go except a squatter camp in the desert. Life is not easy. There's no running water, plumbing, or hospitals. Did someone steal your wallet? Tough beans. The Slab City Police Department does not exist. Slab City does not officially exist either. Number 4. Area 6. Area 51 needs no introduction, but the base is not the only secretive zone in the Nevada desert. Meet Area 6, a smaller complex with hangars and a 1.6 kilometer or 1 mile long landing strip. Airspace is restricted and the entire place is fenced off. About 19 kilometers or 12 miles separate Area 6 from Area 51, and the airstrip is used by both Homeland Security and the Department of Defense. Beyond that, the facts get hazy. When the departments were pressed for answers, an official spokesperson admitted to a short clue saying that they come here to test their own sensors. Investigators also found the license application of the contractor who had built the airstrip. The paperwork described the facility as a place where unmanned vehicles are created and tested. Based on that, some have suggested that Area 6 holds MQ-9 Reaper planes. These are drones that specialize in reconnaissance missions. Area 6 could be where new technology related to the planes are tested, and the surrounding landscape is also perfect for dry runs of actual missions. Number 3. Fairy Circles. In the Namibian desert, millions of evenly spaced circles dot the landscape. Their edges are lined with knee-high grass, but nothing grows in the centers, not even when fertilized soil is added. The mystery surrounding the origin of these natural rings has inspired many theories over the decades, but none pan out to the satisfaction of everyone in the scientific community. Suggestions include the work of termites, sunbathing ostriches and zebra, noxious plants and fungi killing circular patches of grass, subterranean gas, competing grasses, and levels of available nutrients in the soil. While most fairy circles appear in the Namib Desert, they occupy an 1,800 kilometer long or 1,100 mile stretch that reaches Cape Province in South Africa. One aspect of the circles that indicates systemized organization is that they never overlap, causing scientists to speculate whether the circles are competing with each other in some way. Each fairy circle can expand between 2 and 20 meters, that's between 7 to 65 feet in diameter, and have a lifespan of up to 75 years. No one knows what causes them to vanish. Number 2. Ghost Town. In the dry, barren stretches on the edge of the Namib Desert in southwestern Africa lie the bones of a grand town. Among the gentle curves of the sand drifts and bleached stone outcrops, ornate buildings rise, defying their desolate surroundings and exuding an air of quiet dignity. Coleman's Kop is a famous ghost town in the Namib Desert in southern Namibia, a few kilometers inland from the port town of Luderitz. Once a small but thriving diamond mining town, Coleman's Kop is now abandoned, fighting a constant battle against the devouring sands of the desert, poised to reclaim the town back to where it belongs. Founded in 1908 when a rail worker named Zacharias Lawala in the area discovered a diamond, The town enjoyed nearly 50 years of history until it was abandoned in 1954 when the diamond mines finally dried up. Prior to the diamond fever, Coleman's Cop was a small, insignificant town, so insignificant that it was named after a simple transport driver named Johnny Coleman, who, during a sandstorm, abandoned his ox wagon on a small incline opposite the settlement. When Zacharias Luana discovered shiny rocks in the area, he showed it to his supervisor, the German railroad inspector August Stauch. Mr. Stauch was convinced it was a diamond, and when this was confirmed, the news spread like wildfire, sparking a huge frantic diamond rush and causing fortune hunters to converge in droves on Coleman's Cop. The town soon developed, becoming a bustling little centre with large elegant houses and German architectural style, complete with an impressive array of amenities. Unfortunately for Coleman's Cop, after World War I, the diamond field slowly exhausted, and its inhabitants moved south where new and richer diamond deposits were discovered. Today, the ghost town's crumbling ruins bear little resemblance to its former glory. Magnificent houses have been nearly demolished by the wind and knee-deep sand. In 1980, the mining company De Beers restored a number of buildings and established an interesting museum, which has now become a tourist attraction. Number 1. A ship filled with gold. In 1533, a ship called the Bom Jesus set sail from Portugal and vanished. Besides the loss of her entire crew, the ship also disappeared with a cargo of gold coins, which by today's standards was worth $12.5 million. Nearly 500 years later, in 2016, miners stumbled across the remains of the shipwreck. It was inside a dry lagoon in the Namibian desert. They alerted archaeologists who confirmed the identity of the vessel. After 6 days of excavations, the gold was recovered. Media outlets lost their minds over the precious coins, but the archaeologists, they were more excited about the human bones, clothing and pottery that were also discovered. Almost nothing is known about the daily lives of sailors who lived centuries ago. Since such artifacts can tell us more, they are, in an historical sense, more valuable than gold. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by clicking the like button. Do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can catch up my next video.